Have you ever felt like the biggest thing holding you back is your own mind? Like you're kind of your own worst enemy sometimes? Well, today we are diving deep into these hidden thought patterns, these mind traps that can totally sabotage our success and our freedom. We're going to break down exactly how to spot them and, more importantly, how to break free.
Welcome back to the Think Strong Network. In this explainer, we are all about giving you the tools you need to build that real, unshakable mental strength. And look, we're not just talking about theory here. We're talking about practical steps you can start using the second this is over. So let's get into it.
And just so we're clear, this is for anyone who's ready to do the work. It doesn't matter if you're a student figuring things out, if someone's labeled you at risk, or if you're watching this from the inside. This is for you. We're here to help you build the future that you want.
You know that feeling, right? That internal roadblock that just pops up out of nowhere right when you're trying to move forward. That's what we're tackling today. And the thing is, these aren't just random thoughts. They are predictable patterns. And once you can see the pattern, you can change it. That's where the power is.
Okay, so let's dive into section 1. We're going to call these roadblocks mind traps. And you should think of them like actual traps. They're specific ways of thinking that can feel normal, maybe even like they're protecting you, but in reality, they're secretly wrecking your chances at success and freedom.
The thing about these traps is they are sneaky. They're masters of disguise. They convince us that we're making a smart move, but really, we're just digging ourselves into a deeper hole. Just being able to recognize them, that's the first, and honestly, the most powerful step to getting out. All right, let's make this practical. We're going to break down some of the most common mind traps out there. Now, as I go through these, I want you to really listen. See if any of them sound familiar, either in your own head or maybe in people you know. First up is a big one. It's called mollification. I know, it's a fancy word, but you can just call it what it is, the blame game. This is when you mess up, but instead of owning it, your gut reaction is to point the finger anywhere else. At another person, your situation, the system, anywhere but at yourself. It's that voice, right? That little voice in your head that immediately says, it's not my fault, or, well, I only did it because they did this first. And look, this trap feels like it protects you from getting judged, but all it really does is stop you from learning anything. It keeps you stuck, and it keeps you powerless. Next, we have something called the cutoff. This one is a simple, but man, is it a powerful mental trick. It's basically hitting a mute button on your own conscience. It's for that exact moment when you feel that flicker of doubt or fear or guilt, that little voice telling you this is a bad idea, and you just shut it down so you can go through with it. And the perfect example of this is the screw it mentality. Come on, we've all been there. It's that moment you just throw your hands up and decide to do the destructive thing anyway. It's a super fast way to push down difficult feelings, but it's an incredibly dangerous game to play. Now, this is interesting. We've got two traps that seem like total opposites, but they're really just two sides of the same bad coin. On one side, you've got super optimism. This is that belief that you are untouchable, you're invincible, you can't get caught. And on the other side, cognitive indolence. That's just a fancy term for mental laziness, not thinking things through, taking shortcuts that, lead straight to failure. So one is thinking you're too smart to fail, the other is not bothering to think at all. Either way, they both lead you to the same bad place. Then we have entitlement. This mind trap. This is the one that whispers in your ear that the rules, well, they just don't apply to you. It's this deep down belief that what you want is way more important than anybody else's rights or even the basic rules of society. In your head, this sounds like, I'm above the law. Or it's that gnawing feeling of, I deserve that car, I need those clothes, and I'm going to get them no matter what it takes. This mindset puts your wants above everyone and everything else. And let me tell you, it is a direct path to conflict and some really serious trouble. Okay, let's just hit pause here for a second. We've gone through a few of the big mind traps. I want you to really think about it for a moment. Which one of these have you seen out there? Maybe in your own life, maybe in the world around you. Let us know in the comments. Seriously, sharing this stuff helps everybody see they're not alone in facing it. So here's where the rubber meets the road. This is so crucial. These are not just harmless little thoughts floating around in your head. No way. They are the seeds of action. Let's break down how one simple mind trap can spiral out into real-world consequences that can mess up everything. It's a really clear three-step chain reaction. First, it starts with the mind trap. Let's stick with entitlement as our example. Second, that thought leads directly to an action, like breaking a rule because, hey, you feel like you're above it. And third, that action always leads to a negative consequence, like messing up your relationships, losing trust, or getting into legal trouble. Thought, action, consequence. It's a straight line every time.
And those consequences, they usually fall into one of these 4 buckets. There's interpersonal intrusiveness, basically violating other people's space and rights. There's irresponsibility, letting down the people who are counting on you. Self-indulgence, chasing that short-term buzz no matter who it hurts. And finally, social rule breaking. See how it all connects? That feeling of entitlement we just talked about? It leads directly to social rule breaking, which is what lands people in serious, life-changing trouble.
Okay, so we've identified the traps, we've seen the very real consequences. Now, for the most important part of this whole conversation. How do we break free? How do we actually start building that real, lasting mental strength?
Listen, this is the whole key, and it is so much more powerful than you might think. You cannot fight an enemy you can't see. So the single most important thing you can do starting right now is just become aware of these patterns in your own thinking. The next time you hear that voice of blame or entitlement or that screw it thought pops up, just being able to name it, to say, oh, there's that mind trap. That simple act takes away its power. Awareness is your weapon. It creates a little bit of space, a moment of choice before you act.
I know so many of you watching this are already fighters. You have already overcome so much just to be where you are today. So, here's my second question for you. What's one barrier, it could be internal or external, that you've already had to break through in your life? Go ahead and share it in the comments. Your story might be the one thing someone else really needs to hear today. And before we wrap up, I just want to give a quick reminder that all of the material in today's explainer was created by the Educational Highway. Their work in this area is incredible, and it's what makes these kinds of powerful conversations possible.
I want to leave you with one final thought. It's taken directly from our source material, and it's specifically about that mind trap of super optimism, that feeling that you're invincible. Ironically, this belief leads to their eventual downfall. Let that sink in. Real strength isn't believing you can never fall. Real strength is developing the wisdom to see the traps before you ever step in them. That's how you build a life. That's how you stay free.